afternoon, folks, and welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Ms. Tiffany Daniels. So, folks, not a whole lot of news on the horizon, but what I did want to go ahead and talk about today is we kind of have two camps. Two camps in regards to this recent Animaniacs clip. And we have one camp who they want to be cautious, which I understand. I do understand that. They want to be cautious. They don't want to jump in thinking maybe it's a conspiracy over there, Warner Brothers, and they're just out to get JD. And they're thinking, look, it's a nursery rhyme. It was done a couple of years ago. If you go on YouTube, you can see how popular the video was back in 2018, and who is the most famous Johnny in Hollywood. So you have that camp. You have the other camp, on the other hand, that is stating, isn't that convenient? This other side is basically saying, why did they use his full name? Why did they specifically use telling lies? Why did they specifically use that song with images that can be found mentioned by AH on the tape? Also, if it were just a fluke, just a badly aged joke that just got sent out into the world at the wrong time, then why, instead of just simply clarifying that, when people began to bring up concerns to the writers, that they then decide to insult those who were expressing concerns, belittling their intelligence, calling them babies. You know what I'm saying? The concerns were dismissed, and we were dismissed as well, called babies, instead of the issue being addressed, saying, hey, it was just a bad joke, we're sorry that you took it that way, but this is what it was supposed to mean. But anyways, now here's the thing. Nursery rhymes have been used since before the Dark Ages to talk about something else other than the literal song lyrics. Now, we can get in, starting with Ring Around the Rosie. Ring Around the Rosie seems like a perfectly innocent childhood song that you can skip to, right? Well, that particular nursing rhyme has to do with the Black Death. Majority of folks already know that, especially if you're a history nut like me. So that is a really good example of how nursery rhymes are used, especially to communicate with impressionable young children a certain truth or fact that the adult teaching it feels is important. So, by stating that the song is a nursery rhyme, that still doesn't take away from it. You can use a child's song, a nursery rhyme, to still communicate a message. Now this becomes even more suspect when you take a look at the images that are accompanying that message. Now, some of you may jump on me for this. They're going to be like, but the lyrics talk about baby Johnny lying about eating sugar. Okay, if that was the only poster there, I'd buy that. With some skepticism, but I'd buy it. But if that's the case, what's the adult Johnny poster doing there? Now, I understand he's the most well-known Johnny in Hollywood. And you're saying that would be a reason why they were using his name. I get that. It's just, there is too much going on that matches what was going on then and going on now than to be coincidence. Just my opinion. Number two, if you think about it from a child's perspective, it's nursery rhyme and images, subliminal message. So with this nursery rhyme, Johnny don't tell lies, and you got this image of Johnny Depp. So what's that communicating? Kids are simple. All they're going to see is Johnny was a bad boy, Johnny's been telling lies. You can argue that point with me if you like. If you would, though, I would highly suggest you talk with a child. See what their reaction is. What do they take away from it? Fact of the matter is, I don't buy it's coincidence. Nursery rhymes have been used for eons to communicate a message separate from what the lyrics that you're singing are. You got the seemingly harmless Ring Around the Rosie associated with the Black Death. What they seem to be doing here is associating a popular nursery rhyme with what's been going on with Depp in the news. Now, you are, of course, free to disagree with me. I know some folks be like, you assume that the writers have delved in. You assume that the writers know as much as you on the subject. Just be careful that you're not projecting your knowledge onto someone who may not have it. Granted, okay? Let's delve into this point real quick. The fact of the matter is, there are people who have not done all the deep diving that we have. But that doesn't mean that they haven't seen the headlines. This is not in any case just a small spat that's just shown in the tabloids here and there. This has been big headline news. At this point, if you haven't heard about the JD case, you've probably been living under a rock. Especially in 2018, where it was a mainstay in shows like Entertainment Tonight and all of that. So you can't go and tell me that they knew absolutely nothing about the case, because it was headline news. So, I do think it was geared at him. I do. And I do think it was left there intentionally, as these things do have to actually be reviewed before they are let out into the public. I don't buy that this is just a misunderstood joke, poorly timed and badly aged. There's too many factors that speak about it. Too many factors that speak against that. There's too many things that don't add up with that scenario. Again, I will bring up the fact that if we just didn't understand the joke, or even that the writers have no idea what we're even talking about, all they would have had to done was to simply clarify it. That's it. But they didn't. You see, they took another approach. They belittled the audience, as it were, insulted their intelligence, infantilized them. So, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And now that it's already been a couple of days since it's been released, an apology now would seem highly suspect to me. An explanation now instead of an exclamation immediately is a little suspect. But everybody's entitled to their own opinions, just as I'm entitled to mine. I did go ahead and think about it. I wanted to make sure my prejudice against against Warner Brothers, wasn't clouding my judgment, making me see something that wasn't really there, that wasn't really intended. Because we've all been upset. You had one thing happening right after the other, and it's, and quite frankly, a little bit traumatizing. So, I did take my emotions out of it, and I looked at it as a whole. But again, it just didn't add up. Alright folks, so that's all I have for right now. I don't really have any new news. It does look like we are kind of in a wait and see in regards to Sia's new musical. Obviously the actually autistic community, well, we pretty much, the majority of us have our side. I'm still holding out for more information before I make a judgment on it. As soon as I do, we can bet one way or the other, I will be back on here. Now, if you could, before we go here, I don't really get a whole lot of views on this channel. The few that I do get, YouTube has a bad habit of removing, so please, if you could, don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and let me know how you feel about everything in the comments. Perhaps you have seen something, noticed something that I've missed. And I do like to try and see things from everybody's perspective so that I can come to the best possible judgment. I do hope you have a good one. You have a great day.